Okay, so today is Memorial Day. And I went and took my Nova to my vet today and got a simple blood draw. Now, I do testing of my stuff at home, but I am not brave enough to do a blood draw. So I go to my vet and have them draw a simple vial of blood. Now, when they do a blood draw, they usually will use either a butterfly syringe or just a regular stick syringe and get a blood draw. I will have my blood and I will ask them to make sure that they put it in a purple tube. The purple tube will make sure the blood does not coagulate. Coagulate means go to like a gel. It'll keep it in a liquid form. So when I went today, I was actually pretty disappointed in my visit. Now, my vet's office, I am usually really good with like the nurses and the doctors there. And I used to try to tip the nurses, but the nurses can't accept cash tips. So to show my appreciation, whenever I go up there and I'm kind of like a pain in the butt, I will bring them up, you know, Bath and Body Works, soaps, lotions, candles, stuff like that, because I do want to show them that I appreciate, you know, what they do, and it just makes me feel better knowing that I try to go the extra mile, because what I ask is usually not the normal stuff that they do. So today I went, and normally I will get the nicest people, and I understand people will have bad days, but today it was just, I guess, not my day. I went, and again, just for a normal blood draw. And I get blood draws again because I do my own testing. I do all my own stuff because first and foremost, my vet does not do pregnancy tests. And secondly, if they did, it would cost an arm and a leg for them to do it, because, you know, they usually make the price really high. So I've been going to my vet for many years now, and the blood draw used to be like $8. Then a couple months ago it went up to $11, which, hey, you know, I get it is what it is. And because whenever I get a blood draw, I just get a blood draw. It's not a blood draw of them doing a test, it's a blood draw. I went in today, and when the nurse came to get Nova was in her double leash, which means I had her regular leash on, and I had her lead on, which her lead is kind of like a choke collar, and I also had her her gentle leader on, because I always want to make sure that when I take my dogs out, I have them secure. And so Nova, I am thinking, is approximately, let's see, she was mated on April the 4th and 5th. So she should be due around this June 6th or 7th, which is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. Okay. So when the nurses came to get my Nova for her, well, one nurse came to get my Nova. You know, not smiling, not happy, not anything at all. And, my Nova usually does really good when she gets a blood draw. So I was sitting there waiting. 5 minutes pass, 10 minutes pass, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? It's usually real quick. So about 15 minutes pass, And when my Nova comes out, the nurse that originally took her in came out with another nurse. And they were both like Nova was really, I guess, bad. Like she was really moving around. She was, and they told me that the next time she comes in, they prefer her to be sedated. And here I am looking at these two girls like, she's pregnant. She's doing about 11 days. Of course, she's going to be kind of skitsy. And then the nurse ends up telling me it took 3 people to hold her down to get a blood draw. Now, anybody who knows me knows I have a temper that flares. And when she said that exact sentence, it took 3 people to hold her down to get a blood draw. All right, so part of the reason why I'm making this video is because whenever I did come back on the ride home with my Nova, she did start doing some heavy breathing. You know, she definitely, because whenever I got her, she was calm and fine. But, I'm guessing the look that I gave this nurse when she told me that she had to have 3 people hold down my dog to get a blood draw. You know, if I ever had a dog that was, you know, a little bit difficult, somebody would come out and be like, hey, we're having a difficult time. Can you come and hold her, or can you, you know, help out? Yes. So I'm going to spin down this blood while I'm talking. Okay, so I don't even know if you got my face or not, but I'm going to kind of just talk here. So I do believe my Nova's pregnant, and we're doing a blood test now because I wanted to do a blood test that was a little bit closer to her due date. You know, I've had puppies. I've been trying to raise puppies and do other puppies. I've had chickens. I've been doing all kinds of stuff. So yes, I put her blood draw a little bit late, but we're going to kind of see now if she is pregnant or not. And if she's not pregnant, then I don't have to worry about anything that might happen to her. But if she is pregnant and she is as far along as she is, if anything does happen to her within the next day or 2 or so, I'm going to be really mad and really upset with my vet's office. Well, not just the office, but with the people who took her blood draw. So not just that, but I've been going to my vet forever, and I have always told myself I need to try to learn how to take a blood draw from a dog. I have the syringes, I have the tubes, I have all that stuff. I just, for the life of me, cannot get the sticking part and get a blood draw. So forever, I have been charged $11. It was $8, and then the price went up, and then it was $11. Today, whenever they charged me, it went up to $39 something, so basically $40. So that's almost 3 whole times more than what I would normally spend. So I would normally spend about $11, and they're going up to about $40. And I know my face got so red because I'm like, yeah, I know that's usually the price that they charge whenever they do like a blood draw and a test or something else. And I'm like, I just need a blood draw. And the ladies were up there and they're like, yeah, you know, with the charge, you know, everything's getting more expensive, the needle and the tube. And I'm like, yeah, the needle's like 50 cents and the tube's like 80 cents. And I'm like, I can understand that you guys have, you know, price increases, that's good. But going from $11 to $40 is crazy. I mean, it was just like, what are... And the lady in front, she always deals with me. And she's like, yeah, she's always paid this price because she just comes in, has a simple blood draw, takes a couple minutes. But I don't know if the nurses were upset because my dog was a little bit rowdy or not cooperating. And so they're like, and I told them, I said, can you do this last time, charge me $11, and that way I know the new price? And they're sitting there shaking their heads like, no. And the reasoning was they had a software update. So because they had a software update, their prices were, I guess, going higher. Now I can get that. But they were also telling me that the $40 is normally the price that they charge for a sample taking. And they're like, yeah, I guess that they've been just doing it as a courtesy for you for the last 4 or 5 years because you have so many of them done. I don't know. But I told the lady, I said, I have somebody who's local who does blood draws for like $15. And I'm like, I prefer to come here because you guys are my vet. But if I just need a blood draw, I'm not paying $40 for a blood draw. I'm just going to go somewhere else. And so the nurses, the 2 nurses that had came out to brought me my Nova, they were not friendly. They were not smiling. They were not understanding. They just looked like that they had a really hell of a bad day. And I was like, public enemy number 1. It was just like, you know, hey, you know, usually whenever I deal with something or something changes, they're like, hey, you know what, that's fine, we'll do it this time, and then next time you know that it's going to change. I mean, there was just about none of that. So I had to ask, and I was asking for a manager. I was asking, hey, you know, can I talk to somebody? And they're like, everybody's so busy. And I'm like, hey, I can wait. I'm not. So this pregnancy test here, I do believe my Nova is pregnant. But then again, she's been inside around the puppies. So, you know, there are false pregnancies and stuff where you do have a dog around puppies and they'll act like they're pregnant. But this is a blood test here, and it will measure the relaxin that is actually produced by a placenta. So if this pregnancy test is a positive, it is because she is pregnant and she does have the relaxin in her blood, which is produced by placentas. A false pregnancy will give you the side effects of being pregnant, but you will never get a positive pregnancy test because the dog's body is not producing relaxin because there's no placentas. So again, like I said, I can get people having bad days and stuff. So this vet, a lot of the doctors are really, really nice. I really, really like the doctors. And there are nurses there that are really, really nice. And I try to tip them. But like I said, since they can't accept tips, I give them, you know, gifts. Hey, here's a candle. Here's some soap. Here's some, you know, to say I appreciate what you're doing. While I was sitting there waiting for my Nova, because this is what kind of triggered me. Because I get different, whenever I take my puppies, I get a puppy pack. So they don't charge for each individual puppies because the puppies are getting seen in just one setting. And it's basically vaccine and a quick exam. Very, very, very fast. So when I was making an appointment, the ladies were trying to tell me that I needed an appointment for every single individual puppy. And I'm like, no. There's a packet where you can do all the puppies. But when I get my puppies done, I get individual papers for my puppies so I can put them in their folders to go home. So that way, because usually what they did before when I first started this, they would put all the puppies' information just on one piece of paper. And that's it. And I I had to cut like little strips so that way they could see, and it was ridiculous. So I started asking the nurses, can you please make one paper for each puppy? So that way I don't have to cut up papers and all the other puppies' information aren't, I just kind of wanted it to be simple, where I have one paper for each puppy. Okay, over the years, there have been some nurses that have been really big shits about it. They're like, I'm not doing that. That is a lot of extra work. And that, like, oh my God, please just, because sometimes whenever you have puppies who travel, when they fly, whenever you're driving with them across state lines and stuff, you need to have the puppy paperwork in order. So that's why I do it. And also, if I ever have the AKC or anybody who comes to my house and looks over my paperwork, they can see how organized I am, especially with all my puppies and that. But today, it was so funny because I guess somebody came in with a litter, and one of the, I guess, older, more established nurses came out, and while I was sitting there, it was so funny because I thought she was talking about me, because I have to go there. Today's Monday, I have to go there Wednesday. And she came out and she's like, I am not making papers for every puppy in this litter. They are just going to get one paper with the puppies on. And I was like, dude, are you talking about me? So she went back in and I went up to and I was like, was she talking about my appointment coming up about not making, and she's like, no, somebody came in and had a litter and they were asking for separate papers and that. And I was just floor struck that this, and like I said, she didn't look like she was new or anything. She looked like she was an established nurse for one of the doctors, who just flat out came out in front, was like, I am not doing this. And it was just like, hey, you know, if you're a pet owner or dog owner, or if you're a breeder, you kind of do need to do that extra step. So I was just like, please check my appointment for Wednesday. Make sure I do not have her as a nurse. So it's very disheartening that my vet's office is starting to have nurses that, I mean, a lot of the nurses that I've been dealing with over the years have left. And it's very disheartening to see that a lot of the nurses are, not to sound mean or anything, but are acting like shits. I mean, I get some people are like, well, hey, you know, you're asking for some extra paperwork, or you're asking, and it's not like they deal with breeders or people who do this stuff all the time. It's like, I go up there like maybe 3 times a year. So it's not like they're dealing with breeders all the time. They're usually just dealing with, you know, regular dog owners. And again, I'm just kind of venting while I'm doing this test. But I do believe I am going to try to call the actual owner of my vet's office, and not talk to him over the phone, but see if I can get him to make an appointment with me. Because I would love to talk with him and kind of let him know that it's very disheartening coming in and doing you know, appointments and stuff at the vet's office. I mean, things have changed, I get it. Prices are changing, I get it. But when you deal with people who are just not happy or unhappy, or who are just so set in doing things a certain way that when you ask, hey, can you do it this way or that way, you're immediately met with like aggression, you know, facial aggression, like, so we're just waiting here. And I don't have gloves on this time, I know. I'm just waiting to see what this test says. But yes, if this test is positive and something happens with my Nova in the next couple days, then I will definitely not be happy, especially when they came out and said it took 3 people to hold her down. Nobody wants to hear that. I mean, in all honesty, if you're having a dog that's a little bit difficult, especially if they're, you know, pregnant or whatnot, you go and get the owner and you say, hey, you know, we're having some difficult time. You don't come out and say your dog was bad. We had to take 3 people to hold her. I mean, that is just like, especially if, you know, like Nova's like a kid, one of my kids. If, oh my Lord. And some people will be like, well, you need to change your vet's office and vetnet. And I'm like, it's not really the vet's office or the doctor's. It's just these nurses. And these nurses forget that these aren't just pets or dogs that they're dealing with. They're dealing with people's family members. They're dealing with people's loved ones. You know, whenever you have a dog that's being difficult and they come out and they say, your dog needs to be sedated. It's like, what? Nobody has ever had a problem. And the funny thing is after they left and I went around and I was trying to pay the bill, there was the pharmacy and there was a nurse over there by the pharmacy and they were just petting on Nova and they were like, oh, you are the sweetest. And I'm just like, yeah. So we're just waiting a couple minutes to see the test and see what it comes out as. And again, I'm just venting. I am just so venting right now because I am not happy. Not happy at all. And the funny thing is I think that these are, give me 1 second. I think I actually might need to get, these are 20, 25, yep. These are my newer tests. So, yep. There is a line under the test. So Nova is pregnant. So I'm going to show you. And I'm going to zoom in because zoom. All right, so you see the test. Let me see. There. So that's where the sample goes. That's the control line. Means the test is working. Oh my gosh, look at my fingers. Blah. And then the test is right there. And there is a line. Oop, no shit. Did I seriously just do that? I did. The sample just went through. But, yep. Test. Pregnant. So, okay. Do I have any other ones? No. All right. Well, just to show you this, and I opened it, is a canine early pregnancy test, relaxin test, and 2025. So, yep. I would do another test, but I'm only down to 3 tests, and I have to order them. They come from overseas, so I can't waste them. But this is just a test. But yes, my Miss Nova is pregnant. She has got a let's show you again. Control test. There's a line. Let's see. There I am. Control and test. So there is a line. She is pregnant. So I don't need these samples anymore. Now we're looking up. So Nova was bred only on 2 days. She was bred on April the 4th and the 5th, and this is a 2025 dog whelping calendar. And as you can see, the 4th and 5th have the red dates underneath them. The 6th, June the 6th, and July the 6th. So I know sometimes, well, Star just had a litter and she actually went a day early, so that's why I have a question mark above June 5th. But today is Memorial Day, May 26th. So we have 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 11 days-ish before she gets onto her due date. So, fingers crossed that with them having to hold her down, 3 people had to hold her down today, that nothing happens with the puppies in this pregnancy. And even when I told them that she was pregnant, that's probably why she was kind of skittish and all that, they did not show any kind of interest or any, oh no, or oh, you know, nothing. It was just, you know, yeah. So, the good news is, Noah's pregnant. Yay. I do have her, and I have had her inside for about 3 weeks now. Let's see. Right after Star went out, I brought Nova back up because Nova, I was assuming she could have been pregnant, but I wanted to make sure that she was up here. So Star went out and Nova came up. So, yep. So fingers crossed that everything goes good and puppies come and they're all healthy. And the funny thing is that I actually have a puppy drop off on one of the days coming up that's close to puppy drop off time. So if Nova does go over her due date, then I need to make sure that my puppy drop off schedule is okay. So that way I'm not gone, just in case she does go into labor and delivers. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, and please, Lord above, make sure that Nova and these puppies are going to have a safe rest of their pregnancy. I am actually going to get ready to get on the phone, and I have to do a x-ray for her so we can get a puppy count. And I've just got to get on the phone because I don't have too many days that I do that. So I'm going to, and hopefully, please, that visit goes better than this blood draw does. But, all right, so I am going to go ahead and end this video. Got to call and make an x-ray appointment, and I will do an update later, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.